Welcome back to the Smite OCL stream. This tonight will be a little bit different. There is a week 3 game still yet to be casted. But we are doing the live game for week 4, and we will be getting the week 3 game tomorrow, probably with an earlier stream. But I am joined tonight by Most on the cast.
Good evening. Good evening.
And on that, we are doing the first game of week 4, which is the Threats versus the Jacked Martins. As we
Should
have
be
a
a good
look
game.
here, the Threats team, we see them every week, know them, we love them. Strong team. They're coming off a loss from yesterday, straight into it.
Did they lose to
we'll,
yesterday? Sorry.
I think it was. It's a wonderful day for pie or something. I think
Oh, true.
some gamers I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
But I dare say they'll be looking to come in all guns blazing, trying to take this win back and get back on the roll again.
Yeah, I can't see this team being too content with 2 losses in a row. So I think they'll have a lot of
chance. They will have
put a lot of effort in
something to say.
tonight.
And yeah, straight into the Jacked Martins, which is a bit of a change up, I believe, this game. Angel isn't their support for tonight's set, and it is Dice Heart coming in. The man, the
myth,
leader
the
of
legend.
us all. Yeah.
It's interesting to see. Sorry, they got rid of their support. I think maybe one or 2 weeks ago in the Bella, and since then they're still trying to find the right fit for that role. I think there's plenty of good options out there, especially between Angel and Dice Heart. So it's going to be interesting to see how they
100%.
play with these different players coming into their lineup.
Also, kind of in the same boat as Threats, have come off of a week or two, like, bit of a pit. So I'm sure they will also be looking just as much as Threats are to come out and get back on the roll again. Which should lead to a very interesting set tonight, I think.
Definitely.
And I reckon. And on that, we'll get straight into picks and bans for game 1. As I dare say, if Jack Martins, people love banning out Shank, as you should. I dare say that would be the option. I would see coming out from bans from Jack Martins. Threats, I'm not sure. I guess it depends on who they're really prioritizing.
Is there any picks that you do not want to see Shank on if you're on the Jack Martins?
Your Moja, and that should just be an Australian-wide OCL thing.
Yeah, maybe we should talk to the government, see if we can get him off that.
Nox ban that's just a basic. She is very good, one of the top supports at the moment. Followed by the Baba Yaga. Again, I would say a top 3 mid laner very easily, maybe even the best at the moment. And Tilly loves it and is very good on it. So
he had a great performance last night in their set against Pi. Absolutely, we do actually clapping.
See Threats going for more of a support-oriented ban phase, going into the Terror as well.
It's interesting to see that, seeing that they don't actually have a cemented support in their team. They still want to take away those options. Maybe like make the person whoever's playing support, which is Dice Heart, I believe, as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah, trying to get someone on a support, a new support player on a support that isn't like the top 3 that you can kind of just coast through, which is Nox and Terra are both very great, but you can just like coast through and do very well on them. So trying to get them on something where the mechanics have to really shine for it to pop off. As we see the Raven ban as well, straight into a Kali ban.
Yeah, I think the Raven's pretty spooky at the moment.
Yeah. Been seeing a lot of play in jungle and solo, I believe. Very good with the latest buffs. I believe he got a really big shield buff on his passive.
Mm-hmm.
He got something else, I thought. I'm not too sure though. Going straight into the Kali. Kali, I wouldn't say is like a top 3 jungler at the moment, but into some of the more better mid laner picks at the moment, it is very good, especially because like your Baba Yagas, your Zonquis, it's a bit of like an immobile mid meta, or like the top gods are kind of immobile, and Kali does do really well at just running them down. So I guess just trying to take off things that could run down their mid laner they're looking for. And Martakoris ban, Jack Martin's top 3 bans is just like stock standard, very good, just top 3 bans, like pretty much in any game you're gonna play.
Yeah, I think the threats have some nice bans there as well, but they possibly have
And
some ideas for their comp, so they don't want some of those picks there.
and immediately Jack Martins didn't listen. They are giving Shanky Moja, and that will be getting locked in.
Tremble
He does
beneath
not
the
get to play that
waves.
much, and it is his favorite god. He will be locking that in any single time he gets a chance.
Yeah, so much versatility on the Umoja. You can engage, peel. It brings so much. Sieges are awesome. Yeah, it's a good pick there.
It could, like, in saying that, if you could come into a game against threats knowing that your Shank's always gonna pick it, and if you I personally can't think of like a
I will leave
locked
standing
field
no
counter to
barrier
it.
to our
But
success.
if you come in with a plan to counter it, it could work for you. It is could kind of favor in your side of the draft if you're looking for something. Ganesh, I don't know. We did see a lot of it last night, actually, in the games, and it did do very well. Personally, I haven't seen a lot of people play it before last night, but it seems to be doing well.
Yeah, and seeing that they had some priority towards support bans in their first 3 bans with the threats, picking up something that's solid and that's available before the second phase is not a bad idea, I don't think.
Yeah, and as we see the King Arthur second pick as well, did he get buffed, or is he? He might just be coming back in the meta with the build path in at the moment.
I think so, yeah.
But just a lane winner, as most of the top solos are now. Has its counters, but doesn't really have a lot that really do enough to really keep him down.
The war returns to this
lane
land.
Pressure. Tia, I feel like Tia can't do a lot into Arthur with like the not being able to get knocked up, but I feel like they kind of cancel each other out, like in terms of lane pressure.
Yeah, to an extent. And if someone has pressure, you're going to pick pressure back into it. Fight pressure with pressure. It's a good way to look at it.
In the matchup itself, Tia should win it, but King Arthur is more gankable as well than a Tia, I guess I would say, just with the ult being able to just go out. And the Rama pick is top 3 Hunter, I would say, it's just a traditional shoot and aim, shoot and fire. If you're in trouble, go up in the sky, start screaming. Your team will be there, or should be there, hopefully.
Shank will Riptide to your rescue and get you out safely.
Riptide on the landing does get Rama a free out. As a Hui getting hovered.
I've got my eye on you.
I don't mind it. It's a very hit or miss pick, I say. It is very killable without like your CC, and a Hui normally wants to be jumping in, like especially in laning phase, wants to be really putting pressure on because there's not many gods that beat him in the 1v1. So he will want to, and his lane pressure is not much, so he has to kind of get kill pressure to win lane. But if it goes well, it will carry a game. But
yeah, and we've seen Furin do that before. He's very
and he is very good on the Sui. I think he has magic on his bounces because he fires it at a wall and then it disappears for like an eternity and comes back and hits you for 800 damage.
Is there some wounds there that I might be hearing coming up?
Yep, back in the old ADC days. Wasn't a fan of it. As we're going in the second round of bans, Zhongqi, they're just Baba Yaga and Zhongqi at the moment are very good because they can build into that, like get like one tank item and like they could even run the Tainted Steel and like one tank item with either of those picks. They're just like unkillable, and it's so annoying.
We saw last night in the set between Threats and Pi these fights around the beacon. These mages like the Zhong and the Baba are so valuable. They have so much big area damage, and it really seems to be priority bans for Threats.
Yeah, 100%. As we see the E set ban, which I'm not. I guess that's they see it doing well into the Yamoja, I guess. I don't really know the ban because I don't think E set mid is very good, and they do have the Ganesh and the Arthur already. Unless, actually, they could be taking it away from Clout now that I think about it. Clout has been liking the ESET jungle.
Yeah, we saw him play very well on that, I think 2 weeks ago. And since then, haven't seen it really too much. But to take away a little comfort pick, seeing that they still need a jungle pick for Martins, is not a bad option.
And now that I think about it, can do pretty well into the Rama as well. If he ganks, dives the Rama goes up, just leave it at the feet and run away. As soon as he lands, pop it. He's probably dead on landing.
Yeah, I think Clout has that timing down.
As we see the Giannis getting banned as well. Taking away the 2 tank mages and then taking away the fallback, like really safe mage, really trying to get Luke onto something that you could like be out of position and he won't get punished, and he can get punished for, which I would like to see, and a Bakasura ban.
Buck is very nice.
Does do really well into the tier, and Yamoja does have a little bit of a rough time peeling a Bakasura if the Bakasura is played well. If you can't get the Riptide off, or jumping over Riptides, or beading through the Riptides, it makes it very hard for Emoja to, and being able to jump over the walls, very hard or difficult for a Emoja to really peel one.
And I think Bakasura is a Clout god. We've seen him go to that in the past, so yeah, good ban.
And looking like they're going to go into Wu Nan's pick, going into Discordia, which is just, I think he's just a very solid god right now. Especially if those top mages are gone, Discordia is definitely going to be one of the ones up there. Big AoE damage, has good scaling on her abilities, so she is hitting harder than a normal burst mage, from her flat out abilities.
Has a decent time evading some of the tier damage as well. With her iframe, she can kind of escape some of that pressure.
Yeah, jump over the walls. Kamazots is a good pick into it. Kamazots does like diving as a Discordia. Like if you turn the apple, it's just up in the air. Can see you in the invis. I don't know about the Poseidon pick. Is very good into. Actually, I don't mind it now. I think about it. It's good into King Arthur Hui. King Arthur's trying to dive. You get crippled, krakened. It's a rough time for him.
We did see a buff come out for the Poseidon as well, with his 2 gaining attack speed as well.
Yeah, so. I could see a Cyclopean ring or a Telkines coming out maybe on the Poseidon. Maybe doing a 1 or maybe 2, I would expect, going into attack speed. As we see the last pick getting hovered is Hebo.
10th pick Hebo.
Yeah,
who would have thought?
The Clout special. I don't know if I like it, to be honest. The Yamoja can mess with it a little bit, but at the same time, if a Yamoja gets a Hebo in the thing and everybody groups into the Riptides to try and like go on to Hebo, he can get massive ults, like just trying to ult back out. But normally it will event in him dying. They say the Emoja is quite good into it. Kemo also really good in the Hebo. Doesn't really care about the carpet too much.
Still a strong god though. You can never really doubt a Hebo's damage. It might be a little bit rough if he gets, because I'd hate to play Hebo into a Yamoja with a tier. I feel like you'd have no escape almost, but I think if there's some good waves in there, he might be able to survive.
I could see him just picking it purely to try and get on Tilly. It is really good into the Poseidon. If he dives the Poseidon, just hold his ult for the Kraken. Going straight in, you're muting everything. And if you're doing enough damage, you should be able to get the Poseidon pretty easily. But yeah, I think it's a bit of hit and miss. I'd like to see how this goes actually as we are starting to load up in the game.
Which draft do you say you prefer, young Luke?
I reckon I prefer the threats draft. I don't mind Jack Martin's draft, especially into threats' team as well. But I think with the Hui pick being pretty hit or miss and the Hebo being a bit hit or miss into the threats comp, I feel the safer pick in the comp area, I think, is just the threats comp. Just has it really down pat of what they want to do.
You can't look past the Shank Yamoja as well. But I think there is some good synergy in the Martin's draft. If you're fighting over a beacon with the Ganesh ult, Hui ult, the Poseidon's going to have a pretty tough time. So yeah. I'm keen to see how this plays out.
I would like to see a lot of wards. Furion will need that entire duo side jungle warded for him. He won't be. Furin's a great warder, and he loves the sentry wards in his lane, but he can't do like the deep wards because Ahoyi is gonna jump in, and even if you see him on that ward, if you've already jumped in, it's kind of over anyway. Even if you do see him at like shield ward, so I would like to see a lot of deep wards, like pathing through mid or at the green buffs. Really trying to let Furin get pressure in this duo lane.
And I don't know about you, but I have a slight prediction there may be some duo lane focus from Shank. He seems to love turning up to those first purple respawns.
Yeah, that's his buff.
Yeah, the Shank buff.
I do like to see people not just let Shank get them for free. At least like throw an ability out. Obviously, you don't want to overcommit to it, but especially as a Hoyi, you can always throw a ricochet. If you get ulted, you can jump out. You can jump over the purple wall. I would like to see some kind of commit, not just giving up everything.
At the same time, Yamoja has a pretty easy time getting away if she gets collapsed on. She can just riptide herself to safety.
As I think mid pressure early, I think as soon as level 5 hits, I think the Kraken is just too strong in this fight. But and especially once Shank goes, I will be calling Shank will be rushing Heartwood either second or third, with the mid 3v3 being completely magical. I think the mid 3v3 will just, unless Clout going in on Tilly aggressively here, doesn't have a lot of mana, so he don't think he'll be able to really pick up a kill. And might even be a bit out of position for simply looking for him now.
Yeah, I feel like the Kamazots has a pretty nice time early into the Hebo.
Ooh, missed the one. And yeah, nothing really comes from it. Clout able to walk away. Good pressure. You want to get this pressure out on this Poseidon early. As we see, this early game duo side will just be Yamoja Rama every day. Huyi clear is abysmal. And Ganesh also not the greatest. Whereas Rama Yamoja, even having one of those picks and having like the support of the ADC not being a good pressure god, can normally carry a lane by themselves. And having them together is just, you win lane.
Can you see we have seen in the past Cloud having a lot of solo gank prio, but can you see him going to the solo, seeing that there's a tier here? Or do you think he's better off pressuring different lanes?
I would like to see him go for blues. As much as Tia is a very safe god, Smelly Frenchman loves a fight, and he very well, if he sees a kill potential using his ult aggressively, he could be taking it. With his ult up, I don't see Clout really committing to a gank, but I would still like to see like some blue pressure or the cooldown buff pressure at least. As we see Simply going for the invade though, which does make more sense.
Definitely.
Yeah, just gonna really press. They Simply knows his duo lane's gonna win. Poseidon's probably just gonna sit there until level 5, can just throw whirlpools out, very safe. As long as you don't really overcommit. There's really one place I would see Simply going. Until the Shank rotates, then I would like to see him focus into the mid fights, as their mid fight is insane. As they do get the
eye of the jungle as well for the Poseidon.
Yeah, so with that, I dare say it will be Telkines or Cyclopean second, and really going for, with no matter what upgrade he gets, with a Rama and a Poseidon with a jungle starter on an objective, it will die very quickly, and great secure on Krakens as well. So dare say we will see threats at early golds, early pyros, looking to fight. Especially with this Hebo being scaling, like his level 1 to like 10 isn't great. These early objectives will, I dare say, threats to lose.
Yeah, I think Poseidon as an auto attack god is actually a little bit looked over. Like his kit, especially now with the attack speed on the 2, he's very valuable as if you build him auto attack focused.
Yeah, his 2 does secretly a lot of damage. If you're hitting all 3 of those, like the 2 side ones, and you actual auto on a person, it doesn't matter who it is. It's like getting hit by a hunter. They will chunk.
I think Hasten Ring I used to buy on Poseidon, but I'm not sure if that's really going to be getting picked up at the moment.
No, I think Telkines. I dare say it'll be Telkines. Maybe Cyclopean if Tilly's looking for like some cooldown.
Or the body blocks.
As a I could see you simply saying, "Yep, there's first blood onto the Arthur." As simply as just pressuring the solo lane. As I was saying at the start, the Arthur is pretty easy to gank and dive, especially with Kematia. Can get pressured very hard with these picks.
And as a character, I feel like as playing King Arthur.
Oh, huge Kraken, but nice immunity from Nan, but still. How Tilly getting that kill off the Whirlpool?
The Whirlpool, yeah.
Didn't actually see the Whirlpool go down. I thought that was Simply's. But just hard, they're just hard pressuring their solo lane. They're just getting everything at the moment. Very good fight from threats that will easily lead into this gold at the early game. Just gonna start creeping up now. It's really hard to contest that 3v3 at mid camps. They're just gonna have a slow bleed out now. As they look,
the threats have identified where the fissure could open for Jack Martins. As a King Arthur, you really want to have your blue buff. You really want to be able to be the one engaging in lane, but they seem to be pressuring that blue, getting Jack Martin on the back foot, and pretty much taking their whole team to that blue side of the jungle. I think that could be a good way to spiral the game out of control for the threats.
And is a quite rough game for Arthur. He definitely wanted to be at least even this game or ahead, because he has a very rough time diving a Poseidon and a Rama, especially with the Emoja around as well. It'll be a rough game. I'd like to see how Beto really plays the late game fights, but I think it could be rough.
Arthur from a deficit never feels nice.
Yeah, and even worse into hard counters. I think Beto's up for a hard game at the moment.
Where do you think the value is then? Because they second picked this King Arthur.
Yeah.
They must just think it's a strong god or has good pressure at the moment. But honestly, I think there's plenty of other solo picks that you could look to. Like the Guan was open. They would have a way better time against the Poseidon.
Yeah, I think their win con at the moment has to be Furin. I would like to see more. They haven't really done a lot. Obviously, it's hard to do at this point, especially with the pressure Rama Emoja got. But as this game kind of goes into this mid game, I would like to see more pressure going into Chompy's lane. Especially with Furin will definitely be sentrying everything, and Chompy not a fan of the wards. He will get a couple here and there, but normally a big fan of, or not a huge warder. You won't see him ending the game with like 20, whereas I could see Furin ending the game with 20.
There's no ult for the tier here, so we could see someone tumble.
Oh, Jack Martin getting a solo kill. Was that a stop? Whoa, he just stood over his body. Alpha move. But the trade-off, yeah. Just not Roy overstaying. He won the trade initially, but then just not respecting the amount of turn damage the Arthur was going to have between what he could realistically get off back on in the Arthur.
Yeah, and the cripple from the one on Arthur, quite nice.
As the Roy solo kill does not deter threats from still going for this blue buff. Actually surprised at how well this fight has gone for threats. It started off very well for Jack Martins, but huge Emoji ult.
Dice may fall here as well. Wow.
Yeah, that is huge. As I say, the Roy taking a 1v1, they still knew that their 3v3 fight with their mid 3v3 is still insane at this point in the game. They just were not deterred from keeping the pressure on solo lane, even with Roy dead.
Yeah, and it seems that they're going to stick with this plan of just pressuring out the solo side of the jungle and finding little windows. We can see so far that the Martins really haven't had the answer for the Kraken and for the Camazots. So yeah, I think it's a great start.
Great testament to Beto. Hasn't really fallen behind at the moment. I think I would dare say Roy would have it looks like it dead even. So it hasn't really fallen behind, but the real gain they've gotten from this is Tilly is, with these rotations, so that blue buff is now 2 levels up. And
Simply's
Simply
4-0.
also a level up. Yeah, 4-0 Kemmer. I think that's where it's really gotten the pressure off of going to the solo lane. It wasn't even for the solo invade. For the solo pressure, it has translated beautifully into a mid lead. As Gebetto stepping up a little too far, probably got hit by that tier knock-up. As I dare say they're going to dive again for Beto, and he should fall here. Unless, Simply hits the 2, and another one.
Yeah, Roy stepped in nicely there just to tank the tower.
As
Easy game.
they are pressuring the duo lane, which I like to see. Chompy in a very bad spot now, all but dead. Yep, it's a silence on the landing. Good response from. I would have liked to have seen that more throughout the game when they were going to these solo lane sides, but doing it now, better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, and it's good to see that kill go to Furin as well. I'm sure he's very happy with that.
Yeah, he's liking that one. Especially with the gold deficit, he was probably staining just from Gilded Arrow alone and the shield buffs Chompy would have been getting. He really needed that to get him back in, and I dare say he could even start pressuring again now. Going back even.
We saw in your game as well last night the large priority towards the beacon. Do you think that is a must to have all 5 members there when that spawns? I believe 12 minutes.
I don't know if all 5 have. If I was Jax Martins at the moment, I don't, unless there's some inting involved or some out of position, as Cloud's going very deep for Shank. Nice. Oh, this is a very good fight after the fact of the Gold Fury. Great fight from Jack Martins, looking to punish for the Gold Fury pull as Tilly dies as well, and this is going to lead straight into a free beacon.
Do you have Smelly Frenchman here making the rotation?
Yeah, Simply and Smelly Frenchman looking for something off of it. And Furin dies. Probably just it is rough because they did go very deep, and I can't really say it was an overstay because they didn't really get a chance to back out. And should still get the beacon, which no, Simply is here, and it might actually look like it'll start going to threats.
Yeah, the threats are all back in time.
Yeah. What was looking to be a great turnaround from Jack Martins, getting the 3 kills off a Gold Fury and looking to go straight into the beacon, like freely uncontested, has turned into a great fight for threats. With the rotation from Smelly Frenchman and Simply coming in, has really turned it. It was a good response.
I suppose there's value there from fighting around the tower for threats, because I don't even know if his TP's upgraded. He just went straight to that left tower and was immediately in position. And
a bit of a late back by Clout. I could even see Shank going back to mid now. I would have liked to have seen maybe a tier 1 pressure on that lane, or even looking for Jack Martin again. But just sticking with their lead, they're amassing a 3k lead now. Got gold, probably looking for a pyro fight now.
Yeah, we see Simply 6-0. As a Hebo, you want to be waiting to get your items online, but I don't think you can really wait against this Simply playing the Kama. Like, he's gonna just keep pushing and pushing his lead, because Kamazot's, I don't think, really falls off at all.
Yeah, no.
Going late.
And has the really good fight, 1v1 fight into the Hebo, has a really good fight into the Discordia. Simply is probably the scariest person on this game at the moment. With him having this much of a lead, or being 6-0, having 3 items, he is a very scary person. As we actually haven't seen a attack speed item coming from Tilly yet, which is fine, going for this just burst magey start at the moment. I don't know if he's getting Telkines at 4th item. I feel like it's more of an early game pressure item, but I could still see a Cyclopean ring, or even just I think alone will also be enough attack speed to really get what he wants from it.
Yeah, do you think
pressure on the ring buff as well?
Do you think the ring is the Cyclopean is the strongest ring at the moment?
I think as a completely for the game, I think it is, but Telkine's early, I think, has a lot of pressure and it does a lot of damage. But as a whole, throughout the whole game, if you're adding up like what they use for the whole game,
Shank.
Shank gets picked. Good pick, but a very good turnaround from the threats. We have been seeing this a lot, actually, that people commit a bit too hard looking for a pick on a support, and the other team just gets the free cast on their entire team.
It should turn into a pretty chill mid tower.
Yeah.
Maybe gold afterwards. Or they could even go
gold
for
is
the tier 2 in mid, I reckon.
Yeah, maybe a tier 2. Tier 1's getting done by Chompy as well, with their attack speed or the damage from the Poseidon in the mid tower as well. It definitely going to fall back to gold as well, and this is going to be a humongous spike in gold and lead for threats in this. This will amass, I dare say, afterwards to about a 10k lead.
And that just comes from Jack Martins being a little bit too eager to find that pick around the beacon.
Just committed a bit too much onto a support, and they lose a lot.
I think it is valid to try and take Shank out of these fights, but I dare say it could be a little bit of a better idea to focus out Tilly with that big Kraken, or you can't really lock down a Camazotz at all, and he's huge, so it's looking a little bit rough for the Martins.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough time to get back into this game with the lead every lane has amassed now. I think it's really I dare say threats will even look to a Fire Giant now, and I don't even think Jack Martins can really pressure it or go in look for a fight. I think they are committed. They should probably commit to falling back and trying to just secure their farm in their jungle, being wherever the other team aren't, and trying to just catch up at the moment.
Yeah, I think the give is not a bad call.
As the threats however, will not stop putting on this pressure. They will.
It is pretty deep
going.
here.
Yep. Tia should fall here. Not a lot of damage coming out onto him though, and he does end up getting out. They're simply nearly dying too, using beads and ult. Actually, and beads from a Poseidon too. Very good fight for Jack Martins.
It's good to see all 5 members show up there.
Aegis as well. Yeah, very good turn on Jack Martins.
Tia, they could rip fire.
They could do fire. A little bit low, especially with the Emojo around, but I dare say they will want to back.
They need to get something out of this rotation from Furin though, so I wonder if they look for a Terran mid or a Terran solo.
Yeah, I don't know. I reckon they probably should just fall back to farming again, take the small win. They did get a lot of relics from that fight, where they didn't really use a whole lot. They still got a lot of beads up, or every beads up in their team, where all of the beads are down except for Chompy's. But not a lot to really go for at the moment. They could be. I would like to see them pressure this Pyro in this next spawn, try and get something off of these no relics on their side.
It's tough as an ADC as well. I'm sure you have more of an idea than I do with the experience playing that role, but if you're seeing a gap in XP in your own lane, is rotating to try and make some sort of desperation play and get a pick on the most fed character in the game worth it? Or should you just stay in your lane and say, guys, I need to farm. I'm not going to be there for the next 5-10 minutes.
Personally, when I would play it, if I was behind by like a level or 2, I'm telling my team I'm not rotating to anything, and I will come when I will just wait for my ADC to rotate, and I'll get their tier 2s and catch up. But I can see it can be a huge play if the early rotation, like Furin's still doing damage. He has his pen online, he still does damage to people. But it is a very big risk, and I don't think they really got a lot out of it. Not too far behind, and threats do get the pyro minutes too. As Smelly Frenchman is going really deep again, and just getting picked again.
So easy to do that on the tier. I feel like every tier player has this thought that they're going to hit the world's biggest ult and win the game with one ult, and they can bait themselves into just going a little bit too deep.
Am known for seeing it's so hard to just, when you see a big ability, like if you just see ability, like you can do something that'll hit everyone, it's so hard to like pull back and actually keep yourself from doing it. So dare say Smelly Frenchman just saw a massive ult, but didn't really have the people around him to go off of it.
I like this map play from Simply. You see mid getting pressured out by Jack Martins. He just goes over to right, And then what are they going to do? They can't really take the tower into Umoja. She still has a Rivers Dubuque up. So yeah, that's a very nice split of the map to kind of make sure they can't get any advantage from that pick on the tier.
Yeah, as I dare say it'll go straight into another Gold Fury from Threats. Probably not now, they might want to back. They probably have a lot of gold in their pockets at the moment, so I dare say they will want to back, but I will be going straight to Gold Fury, I dare say. And looking to just extend the lead and then take that into the Fire Giant.
It seems like we have a little bit of a grouping from Jack Martin, so they could even maybe get away with just ripping it now.
Yeah, they could just completely rip the Fire Giant with Jack Martin's expecting a Gold Fury fight. They have ward pressure around fire. They could just rip it. They definitely have the team to do it. I even think they have the better secure, unless Clout's getting in there and trying to ult the Fire Giant, which I don't know is it's desperation. If they get the Fire Giant, they should stall for a bit longer. But I still would give it to Crack and Secure, and they just completely explode that Gold Fury. Even if Jack Martin's wanted to rip the Fire Giant off of that, they do not have the time.
Yeah, I think we've seen a little bit of indecisiveness as well from the Martins. Like, they showed up for that beacon before with 5 and didn't contest it, and they showed up for the gold and didn't really do much to look for it. Now they're all here at the fire and they're just getting pushed back. So yeah.
I thought Dice Hut just beat, but I just saw he has
super.
Mad as a huge ult. Great Riptide from Shane. As Luke's getting dove though by the after, but in that cripple field, he will not be doing anything at the moment. As he gets out of it and he turns it on Tilly. My goodness.
Yeah,
good
Shane
play by
didn't
Jack
have the
Martin.
Omi to heal him up or get him out.
Massive.
Oh,
I don't know what that ability is called.
it's
Disco
the box.
2. Yeah, the box. That was a massive. Unfortunate that he didn't at least get a double kill there. That was huge. As Roy's going in as well. Oh, that's a great turn. Good job by Jack Martin and Nan that fight. Really, actually punishing them for going very deep.
And Furin is a little bit behind, but he's still doing great work. He's 6-2. He has some very crucial items online for the ADC, and he always has so much damage with his 2 on any tank target. So yeah, Furin's doing very well to try and get his team back into this.
Yeah, 6-2. Actually, I didn't even notice.
I didn't notice
sneaking
either.
under the radar a bit there, going 6-2. Is a very late. I'm assuming this is a kin size. It has to be. There's no way he's getting Asa. But a very late kin size actually coming in is a better late game item now, especially for tank killing. It is very good, but normally we see like Chompy is
It's fire as well. Relatively uncontested.
Yeah, no one around from Threats. It's just if they have the burn to be able to get there before
Chompy's got this.
Ramal coming out.
Oh.
Jack Martins do secure it. I dare say there will be an all-in coming in here or looking to it, but the carpet is just too strong. And Jack Martin, great usage of knock-up immunity. Will fall though, but that's great pickup for Jack Martin. Great Fire Giant pull.
Yeah, but at what cost? You see now they get the fire, but they just have to retreat straight away, and the Threats are on the front foot. They're going to siege mid.
Do they have a bomb? Might look. No, it doesn't matter anyway. Mid Phoenix falls.
Yeah, possibly baiting themselves a little bit there. I know it's always nice to pick up a fire, even just to take it off the other team, but sometimes picking up fire is a little bit to your disadvantage. Like, if you expend so much securing that objective and losing members of your team, what's the point in getting that? Like, you know, you're still losing your Phoenix off that.
Yeah, I actually hadn't noticed that Nan actually did fall in that fight. And I was expecting a Phoenix defense to be able to be done, but without Nan, yeah, they just...
That was from the Ram snipes from Chompy while he was on the objective.
Good snipes, Chompy. But yeah. Is at the same time though, a little bit of it's still relatively good. They do lose mid Phoenix, but if Threats get that Fire Giant, they probably get mid Phoenix and the other tier 2s. I don't know if they should be looking for push. No one's around this tier 2, so this is a good call at the moment. But I would have more of taken, or in my head I would have been planning on just getting that Fire Giant away from them and just safe farming until the next Fire Giant spawns. But they're putting pressure on. They're confident in what their fight can bring.
I think Shank knows that he can't step up too far here because there's a whole entire Jack Martin's team turning up for this beacon.
And the last beacon looking like it's going to go straight to Jack Martin's.
I think the previous two went to threats though.
As a blink in from Smelly Frenchman on the Hebo. Doesn't really get a lot from that. Furin jumping over into the green buff. Who's that, Nan? I don't know how Nan is up there.
That's Furin-esque positioning.
Did get left by a bit of his team, but didn't really have an out there. It was really rough. If Jack Martin pulls here, it's gonna be right. Yeah, it's just the fight after these objectives. Just threats are just have complete control over.
Do you reckon they can look for the end here, or will the Titans walking down lane screw that over too much?
Oh, true. Titans will be walking down lane soon. It would have been a bit trolled.
Yeah.
Great point. But I dare say threats at the moment would just be looking to maybe get a couple picks, but really just wait for this next Fire Giant. I could see a grouping before Fire Giant and running down this tier 2 at least. Or especially with these Titans around, they're gonna look to go for a tier 2. If they get a couple picks, they could even go Phoenix.
It's pretty scary though for Martins. You see all the builds coming online, full builds for most players on the threats, and only one Divine Ruin in the entire game for this Camazots with a Serrated and a Boomba's Hammer. So he's gonna be thriving with these build choices from Jack Martins.
Simply really showing up on this Camazots pick. They don't even really have safe poke to really poke down this Titan. From a distance anyway, threats are gonna look to hard push with this Titan. They're gonna have a very good fight. I could very well see them pressuring Phoenix for this.
Yeah, and all the meanwhile, we've got Simply splitting the map again, asking more questions of the Jack Martins to see how they're gonna deal with this.
They could think that he's not gonna get anything because there's no mid to get, but if you don't go to him, he will just go and hit the Titan. And with a wave, he could very well end the game, which you do see. If someone doesn't go to him, he could get this Titan to half health.
I think Cloud's going to look for the insta-back, but maybe they can stop the backs out of the threats.
Which should lead to a free tier 2 at least, with a huge ult in both Smelly Frenchman. That was a great ult. Great snipes coming out from Chompy as well. They've got the pick, and it's the support pick. They could, not a lot of ults up on the side of Jack Martins as well. This could be a fight, Phoenix ball.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. Oh yeah, the River's Rebuke
great
makes the siege so much easier. See Cloud coming around the back here.
Good ult by Cloud, not finding the damage. Jack Martin though does finish off Tilly.
That's enough though.
Unlucky. Yeah, Jack Martin's gonna run down Chompy as well. This is a good fight. Good pull. If they can get mid Phoenix, defend mid Phoenix as well. Get mid Phoenixes up as well. This is a great fight for Jack Martins.
Yeah, I was a bit questionable about their hard defense on the tier 2 in right there, but it seems to have paid off in the long run.
Yeah. Luckily, Clout doesn't die there. I would like to see an instant back now. They do have press. Threats are down for a really long time. They get back and get to this Fire Giant. This could be a very good Fire Giant pull.
Yeah, the deaths are staggered only slightly, but still to some degree. So
a bit taking their time a bit too much. I would have liked to have seen Clout not really chase down those kills. If he had died there to Smelly Frenchman, it would have been great for threats. Probably just overstaying. They could have backed and been out this Fire Giant and probably had it half health already. Should still be a good fight for them, but Tilly is spawned, Chompy is spawned. They're going to be at this Fire Giant by the time.
We're seeing what we said in the early game as well, where Hebo just needs to get these items online. We're seeing once he's got 5 items, he's seeming very volatile. He did so much damage on the defense there, just finding his way around the back.
Yeah, with Tilly and Chompy grouping up, and that Hebo ult just did so much, and Jack Martin being able to run them down too really did well.
I like this pull from the Pyro here. They could be asking the question of the threats, maybe trying to get Tilly to use his Kraken for the Pyro. I don't know if he would, but could help them on the...
coming out, Rama ult down, Simply poked out as well. This is a good fight for Jack Martins.
Yeah, they're really bringing it to him.
Yeah. Not saying die. The items are, your carries are pretty much one item off from Nan, but pretty much full build. Supports, I would have liked to have seen Dysart upgraded his starter by now, but they can win these fights. They definitely can.
Even if they do get a hard victory in a team fight, there's still 4 towers up on the side of the threats map. So they'll need maybe 1 or 2 good team fights before they can really threaten the end. On the other side, there's only the 1 tower in duo standing. So it's in a way more kind of promising position for the threats if they get the win on this team fight. So hopefully they can just, in their ideal mind, just win 1 team fight, run down mid, run down right, end game. But there's more work to do for the Jack Martins if they do come out successful in a fight.
With left side push up as well, they really don't lose a lot if they do get... It is EFG now, and Jack Martins, if they do get like a wipe, they will get a whole lot and be back in the game. But like, you're not... You could lose actually on a hard wipe on like everybody on the same death timers. But definitely a threats fight to take. As we see, Jack Martin's not giving them time and just going in on Chompy.
Some good damage.
He's down, or unlucky to not... Oh, they do find the kill. Great kill. Great pick before the fight giant.
Tyr couldn't stop him. He's just decided that he doesn't...
Rivers Rebuke going missing. And Kraken down as well. This has to be a reset. The reset is a great position for Jack Martins to be able to pick this up. Good blink. Fearless into a big ult by Roy as well. We're simply rotating around as well, looking for Nan.
Simply's gonna tear him up here.
Good shell. Yeah, still good position. Jack Martins need to just leave. They're staying away, kind of just looking at them. They need to just go back to Fountain. They need to reset for this. As Jack Martin going in a bit too deep.
He may die here.
Get picked here. The tail of the tape, this set, this first game is just Jack Martins to stay for a little bit too long, and that counter fight by threats is just winning a lot. Yeah, Smelly Frenchman peeling off for Simply there. Very good. As a fight that should have been ended in a good pull by Jack Martins on a reset has once again turned into threats in the leading position again. And they won't waste time on picking up this fire giant by the time Chompy and Tilly get here.
Yeah, and I feel like for Jack Martin, finding Ram seems to be a good target because he's, as solo, you have to choose one of the enemy backliners that just do not want to play the game.
Damage coming out from the tier. Very good.
He's also fallen quite low though.
As they have
going to step out
to drop the fire giant, but they do get the pick up on the Ganesh, and they're just going to go straight back to it. And they are going to rip through this once these items get up yet. The 3 EFG.
So it looked like that the Jack Martins were in control at the start of that last engagement, but possibly just a little bit of an overstay just hands that objective over to the threats.
Yeah, threats a lot of the time you'll see will not, especially around these fire giant like standoffs, if one of their team gets picked, they won't let it go without being at least challenged. You really gotta know when you've won or gotten a good engagement or a good pick and just hard leave, because they will go down to try and get some kind of answer to it so that they aren't in a bad position.
And it looks like threats are just going to go take that last tower off the map before trying to siege a Phoenix, which I don't mind.
Simply does have the bomb, which will be a very good, I would say it'll be a 4-1 split with the tier being able to do so much disruptance to help Chompy get to click on a Phoenix. And Simply, I dare say, will just walk down mid. If he's not answered, he'll just chuck a bomb out, hit it a couple of times, and then ult out if he needs to be.
I think the Hebo is at the point though where he can just blow up the Camazots if he's not careful. So
Simply actually looking to get double bomb, so he will just walk into this double bomb and ult out. If
possible right lane, or do you reckon he'll choose mid?
I reckon he would choose mid, because he could then ult out and ult straight over to the fight in left and leave the people that had to defend him in mid. This is a very rough position, siege defense for Jack Martin, because I don't think one person can stop Simply double bomb from getting a Phoenix. So I guess they would have to have clout, and he's going for it now.
Well, that would feel so fast.
Arthur was never going to stop Simply from killing a Phoenix with double bombs.
And there is backdoor protections on the bomb damage, right?
There is.
Yeah, so the EFG just makes that so easy for him.
Yeah, as this Simply will then just go straight mid, do the same thing. They've already won the siege already, got one Phoenix. Don't need to leave anything though. They will play this a bit slower now that they already have pressure in that right side. They say they have a lot of time on FG after the new season. They can play this slow as Smelly Frenchman wastes no time linking in and instantly ulting out. Good ult by Furin, stopping the people being able to follow up from Smelly Frenchman going in there.
But do you think sending the King Arthur to mid is the person that they really need to be able to stop this Camazotz? I feel like possibly sending the Hebo there, he has the best chance of just killing this Camazotz outright.
Yeah, he has the best chance of stopping him from getting Phoenix. I don't know if he can really kill him, but definitely from being able to stop him from getting Phoenix, especially being able to just like freely knock him off the Phoenix. As Smelly Frenchman falls, but they did get the Phoenix. And a good cracking coming out from Tilly off the end, but does get poked a lot, does get the Aegis out, and the Rama ult as well, but that is a win for Threats. They will fall back onto this Oni Fury and look to possibly push her an end.
It's a very nice position to get the 2 Phoenixes and then just, oh well, we can just fall back to Oni, and then they're
still probably have a good minute and a half maybe on this EFG as well. I'd like to see just an instant back, just reset, go straight down mid and try and look for an end.
And we saw how fast those Phoenixes are falling. It seems that these changes have really made somewhat of an impact. And of course they do have the Yamoja, which has the River's Review, which is an awesome tool for sieging. You can just wall off the bird and just let your team try and hit it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we see these Phoenixes falling really fast.
Especially that is
last season.
Added to 2 with the beacon. I believe Threats got 2 out of the 3, which is a permanent structure damage buff. And with EFG, these Chompy will about 4-shot a Phoenix with EFG. As EFG has fallen off, so they will probably look to get this, maybe a pick before. If they get a pick or 2, they could look for an end, but I dare say they'll just look into group, look for a pick, go back to EFG, and then just walk in and end.
Yeah, I think these changes were very nice. Like we saw so many teams having issues with sieging before this patch, and it seems to be quite a nice little quality of life change that they've made.
Yeah. I do see it a bit counterintuitive of what they initially did this. I like the changes because it does make sieging easier, which I don't know is realistically a good thing. But they did make the season to try and stall these games out. But then did give them, especially with Titans and the buffs, they did give sieging a lot easier, which does normally fall into quicker games.
Yeah, such a nice pick to find just before Fire as well. Also getting both of the relics out of the disco.
This is just going to be a free EFG, and Jack Martins, they were just going to have to all into the Titan and just hope for a big Hebo ult, probably looking for a massive Hebo ult. Probably will have to hit the knock up first to try and, because if he just blink ults, he's just gonna get Aegis. But I think that is really their win con. Big Ganesh ult, big Hebo ult, and it doesn't even really fall into a win con. Really, it's just a maybe get Phoenixes up.
Yeah, I don't think Dice Hard has had really like a bad performance on the Ganesh, but it just seems that the Threats have way better of an idea of what they want to do with these dives, because you think that they might be out of position there in right lane, being so deep, but they still find the picks.
Yeah, I think it just fell off because the Ganesh really wants to win these early mid 3v3 fights and just didn't really have the gods around him with the Ebo and stuff to, especially against Threats, very good 3v3 fight. It just never really found the usage of the Ganesh that he probably would have wanted to.
It's also a nice pick into the tier as well. With him diving, you can kind of catch him exposed with the silence, but hasn't seen a whole lot of that.
Yeah, no, as they're just going to run this down, they're just going to throw Big up, throw all of it in. With Poseidon and Rama hitting it, it's just going to be GG, and first game going to Threats quite convincingly. Jack Martins, on the other hand though, did have moments of really putting it to Threats and showing signs that they could have got back into that game. But just a bit of overcommit, I think. But otherwise, they did do very well to get to a team like Threats.
Definitely not a pushover. I think for the Jack Mines, you can't be too upset with that performance. We do know that Threats are a very strong team. and to have moments in the game where it looks like you're in control, I think that's a good taking from that set or from that match.
Yeah, especially a very good showing from uh both Clout and Jack Martin, especially not really being into a comp that against like a comp that favors them. Their gods, I mean, did have a good showing that game,
Yeah, I
especially
think
Jack Martin.
the King Arthur, yeah, had some good highlights there, just like finding so much damage on the backline from threats. It's possibly what made the game kind of teeter in control for a little while there as well.
Yeah,
I think,
especially after being pressured out so hard at the early game.
yeah, I think the King Arthur pick was good, but possibly a little bit disconnected from the rest of his team. I wouldn't be mad if they went back to it, but
Yeah,
maybe with a different jungle pick to assist him with those dives. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
yeah, maybe looking to pick it up later. Maybe looking for like a third pick, or I don't know if he will. Depending on what the draft is at the moment, he might lose the Arthur in the second round phase bans, but I wouldn't mind seeing it again in the third round if the top two from threats isn't too damaging to it. It would
Yeah,
like to see him fall back on it.
what do you think the Martins need to change about their draft to make sure that this set isn't just a swift 2-0?
I honestly don't know. I would like to see, especially if like threats are looking to run back the comp. I think uh, a different solo pick would be nice. Maybe looking to get a better mid 3v3 because threats really do love having like a really strong mid 3v3 in the early game, trying to get pressure pretty because the mid pressure kind of just falls into lane pressures on the sides as well. Would like to see them really go for like a mid 3v3 fight that can take it to the 3v3 of what threats will be doing.
Yeah, if you're Jack Martins, are you leaving that Yamoja open and trying to take something like the Camazots away?
No, I'm never. They should be banning Yamoja. I would like to see Yamoja ban. The Camazots did do very well, but it was greatly helped that he was also just a very good pick into Jack Martin's comp.
Mm.
He nothing really a Hui can't turn and fight. He just gets ulted, he just gets jumped over the stun. The Discordia has an incredibly hard time facing the Camazots. Simply really just got to do whatever he want into that comp.
Yeah, 9-0. It says it all.
Yeah.
I think we keep coming back to this, but Camazot seems like he has a good matchup into a lot of into a lot of gods. Maybe it's a well, not really sleeper. He seems to be getting picked a fair bit, but like maybe under the radar, really strong jungle pick.
Yeah. I kind of see it as like the same way as the Yamiya prio. It's just I think it just does good into the high prio picks at the moment, even into your like Zonquis and such. He does do a very good job at being able to pressure the high prio picks at the moment.
Yeah. I'm not sure how long we have to get into these next picks and bans, but
We
yeah, maybe
might
we
be
can go
going
to
to a short break.
let's do it.
Maybe yeah, chuck on a quick video while we get this second game. And we are back for game 2 of Threats and Martins. Very dominant showing from Threats, but Jack Martins did have their moments of prowess in some of those fights, actually.
Yeah, definitely wasn't a pushover. There was moments in that game where it looked like Martins could claw back control, but the threats just snuffed those out when they started to come up and ended up with a pretty convincing victory.
Yeah, as we see the Nox ban coming out first from Threats again, probably just looking to run back really what they're banning, I dare say, in the first game. And the Camazots coming out from the Jack Martins.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
very valid ban.
just simply really showed up on that Camazots and just do not want to deal with the Sky God again.
Yeah, if you're the threats, are you just running back the exact same bans and hoping that Martins let something through?
Yeah, that's what I would be doing, and it is what they're doing. They're going Carly again as well. Because Jack Martins are probably going to try and they ban out the tier. See, they're just banning out the comp that they did last game, which is probably going to lead into threats getting something that they probably wanted the first couple of games, but didn't end up the first game, but didn't end up getting. And they go the Terror again. The exact same bands coming out from threats. And the Shablanque band coming out third from
It's interesting.
Jack Martins. Umoja's still being up.
It is time for
but
some
Insta-block Barber.
fireworks.
Yeah, I can't see that really not happening.
Yeah, banning out the picks from last game has just let in Tilly getting into his Barber, but they might have. In saying that though, they banning out the last team, there has left up some picks for them to grab potentially, as we see the Raven Harvard.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about it. I'm keen to see if it actually lives up to the pressure, lives up to
Take pleasure in the crushing
limelight
of
that it's been given.
enemies.
This new buffed Raven.
Raven Marty. I would like to see where this Raven's actually going, whether it'll go to Jack Martin in solo or jungle to Clout. At the moment, I would like it solo more, seeing as I'd like to see Clout on a god that could really like shred through Barber. Maybe an AA god, which is probably why they've been they stuck with the Kali ban as well. Clout, well-known Al Kwang enjoyer. I would like him. Al Kwang does do pretty well and does shredding a Baba Yaga in their ult. Wouldn't mind seeing that. As you see the Maui Hubbard, which is a stank. Loved it. Actually, I'm pretty sure he spammed just Maui for about 2 months after his release. Has fallen off a little bit.
I fell victim to that in casuals a fair bit. The Shank Maui. It was actually quite depressing.
Actually straying away from the Umoja. He's had his one and done. He had his Umoja game.
It's open as well.
Yeah. He's said he's had his first game. He's now going to sit back and let it get banned for the next 6 weeks again. And he's just going to go to his Maui. As they get the Rama as well, which is just another it's up. You just got to take it. It's just such a good hunter at the moment as they go back to the Ganesh.
I like that.
I don't mind it.
You're looking to catch people out with the Maui, and the Raven and the Marty will be pretty hard targets to get with that ult. And if you do catch the Ganesh, he can just dash straight through it.
Yeah, and could even have. I doubt Dice will really be looking for it, other than just throwing up the big ult when he sees him. But a cheeky block of the Baba Yaga ult for like a second with the little corner of the Ganesh ult. Yeah.
Yeah, Dice has that in the locker.
As Jack Martin's actually banned the Al Kwang. Actually surprising. I would have liked to have seen them. They had the first pick in the second round. Would have liked to have seen them gone for it.
Have we seen Simply? We have seen Simply on the Al Kwang, right?
We did. He did play it in the set last night. Did have a good showing on it as well, actually. As the Chernobog band, probably there's going to be double Hunter bands. Assuming that Martacorus is going mid. As I don't think out Thor.
I think both teams should be pretty happy with their top three. Like they're both very solid.
Yeah. Being out Thor, Martacorus does have a good time into Thor as long as he has his ult up. When his ult isn't up, Thor can punish a Marty pretty easily. Probably just giving Nan some more freedom, or looking to give Nan some more freedom on how sparingly he uses his ults.
Yeah, you can see threats don't think that's going into ADC either. They chuck more ADC bands. Well.
Yep. As I'd like to see what they're actually looking for Jack Martins here in the first round of this as Souls Harvard, which I do think would still be going to Furin. He has been playing that a bit in scrims. I don't know how I feel about magical ADCs at the moment. They do have a very good early game with the Telkines rush, but I feel like once it goes into late game, it gets a bit rough for them to really be able to do damage.
Yeah, it's not a bad answer into the Maui as well. You can disapparate through his ult if he leaves it up.
Even gods
I would even
must
like to see
heed the
Furin
scales of
maybe
fate.
do like a Telkine Cyclopean first two, and then, or just a Telkines to really run that early game, and then go into more of a mage build
for Camelot!
ADC
for
build.
Avalon!
As we see Nem King Arthur.
Threats think that King Arthur has what it takes to kind of bring it to this Raven in lane. So I'm keen to see.
I think those are a bit awkward picks. I do like the Ganesh into both Nemesis and King Arthur on the dive, especially having a bit of a rough time killing a Marty as well. Doesn't really have a Marty can potentially be able to maintain a Nemesis without having to use his ult. every time. Unless
Death
Nemesis is just ulting
awaits.
Marty, then he does have to ult. But like, if that's not traded, I feel like a Marty could actually take that fight without having to just spam. And the Thanatos coming out, which is a spice. I haven't seen a lot of Thanatos.
It's a nice pick to have in the back pocket.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. I guess just looking for it does theoretically do a good job into the Barber, because even if he gets up into that ult, if he's in execute range, it's very just securable damage. But apart from that, I don't know if I like it. Maui does have a very good time. It's a will have a very good time in the Thena. Has a lot of lockdown for the Thena that can't really answer. Has the movement speed to be able to, and the protections for his backline as well. I feel like it could be rough for Clout game.
Yeah, I think Tilly has the reactions as well to insta pop into that house if he gets blinked on by the Thana. So you could be finding this Thana left out in the dark if he overcommits onto the Bubba.
Yeah. So I feel like that another really hit or miss pick coming out from Clout, which it seems he likes having the pressure on him.
Yeah.
To do these things. Just gotta quickly point out, Chompy did not click on the green buff. And missed his auto and completely lost it. So no, if I was Simply, I would be loving this, because that means he probably gets a green buff that he doesn't normally get. Unless they're just gonna walk to the green buff, which has pretty much given up that first wave. Yeah, Chompy would be getting flamed in comms right now. At this point,
Maybe they could be looking for a different option in ADC, taken after the Jack Martins.
Chompy will not live that one down. He definitely thought he had hit that green buff too. He walked the entire way and then looked behind, and it was not there. Think
about the comms. Joy's missing? I don't know where they are. Could be getting ganked in mid.
Mid freaking out. That was a good pull into lane, getting a lot of actually pressure. After the late rotation too, Shank, yeah. Just to pull in, they're both half health now. And them going for the green buff meant nothing apparently. They lost a little bit of a wave, but instant pressure coming out straight away.
You were saying last game that Ram, you don't even need that much pressure out of a support when you have the Ram, but I think Soul's Clear is not too bad either.
Yeah, it's actually, I actually don't mind it into the Rama, because Rama does want to step up to the wave to really be able to clear it. And with the arrow as well, Furin will be hitting incredibly hard with the, full passive proc autos. Could dish out a lot of damage to Chompy if he's not careful.
Cringe gank.
You see the cringe gank coming out to Smelly Frenchman. Good knock up. Very good knock up. I don't know if he still might be juking himself to death a bit here. But
Beyblade's away.
Does find himself, yeah, does find his way out.
He steps straight back up.
Yeah. Bit crazy. As I don't know what happened over here, but Chompy is very low. So is Furin. Both ADC is incredibly low. Furin staying around is a bit scary. I don't know if they really do anything off of it as long as he doesn't in too hard. As Smelly Frenchman stayed and assumed that Clout had backed or gone somewhere else, where Clout a bit too sneaky for that. He will just stay there.
I think you have to guess that Clout's going to re-gank. We've seen him do it so many times. He's happy to just sit there behind a wall waiting until someone just uses the wrong ability, and then it's just easy pickings.
Yeah, as very good start to the Thena. As we see a pause coming out.
Fear in DC.
Yeah, Fear in DC. As
maybe that's why he was taking so much poke.
As yeah, a very good start from the Thena. If he can keep this rolling, probably pressuring that solo side too. Would have liked to have seen him be at this blue buff spawn, but probably just rough timing on when he actually picked up that kill. But I would like to see this transition into mid pressure around looking for the Nemo, Barber, or the solo side.
Yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it as well, the Thana may be quite nice for these like long-winded brawls around the beacon, just getting people down low, and Thana has that little extra bit with his execute. Could be quite useful.
And doesn't have it's not a great matchup. I think Nemesis still does win the 1v1, but there is the potential if he can get a good time silence on the shield and the burst coming out from the one, he can win a fight against the Nemesis. Played well.
Do you think that Jack Martins should have looked for a different option in support? You see that they're running the Ganesh back again. I don't think Dice really misplayed at all on it, but wasn't too many like highlight standout plays. But if you're filling in for a team as Dice Hard is, I think just having a sound, solid performance on the support is all you really need to do.
Yeah, you don't really need to overplay your hand. It wasn't actually. Threats kind of, I think, picked into the Ganesh pick a bit. That made it have a bit more potential than it probably could have had.
Clout's up.
We see Thanatos up. Yeah, going on Shank. Yeah, good kill again from Clout. Really putting pressure on early, as he should be with this Thana pick. Very good.
And we saw the Maui use his jump, I believe, and then Dice just puts the pillars up.
As
Solo.
Regain coming out with Jack Martin as well. Ult coming out. Good stun by Smelly Frenchman. I don't know if they actually find this kill though. They don't. Has a very good route as well. Ooh.
Yeah, he's already so tanky with the Sigil and the tier 2 round shield on the Raven, so
Oh, and Cloud again.
he'll fall for
Putting
that
pressure,
though.
he does fall for it. Which is actually a pretty good. He did get the killing spree there, which would have had a little bit of a shutdown for Tilly. I don't know if it's still worth though. He is just putting out that pressure. But as I was saying, the Ganesh, I think it was a fine pick where they had it, but Threats kind of picked into it. His peel and fight potential, especially on the dive. He does do very well into a Nemesis and a Arthur, and with Double Hunter as well. The anti-dive when this Nemesis or Arthur commits, and pick potential is very good.
Yeah, and we've already seen if someone uses their dash, Dice has his pillars, chuck them up, you'll get some soul damage in there, and then Cloud can just be around to finish them off. So that looks like it could be a very nice potential combo throughout the game.
As Cloud's kind of looking to press his duo side a bit more, actually, now that he has got a couple items online, which I don't know if is really the option at the moment with Furin kind of running down that duo side, as we see Simply looking to get this Furin pick. Rama does have ults up. If he does get a bit of a damage in here, they could find the pick. I feel like Furin will be falling here. The ult's coming out, yep. Oh, good turnaround by Cloud. Cloud's here with the Ganesh pillars as well. Chompy does find a kill on Furin, but Shank destined to fall here as well, probably. That's not, just walks away. Here's the scythe.
Good jigs.
I would have liked the turn
Wow.
onto the Rama. I feel like it was awkwardly timed with when he used the scythe, but if Chompy had have rolled in a second earlier, Cloud could have turned that on the Rama.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if they're really looking at the builds because Chompy's picked up an Aussie first slot.
Yeah, Asside.
Perhaps to counter this soul pressure a little.
I don't know if Chompy's not much of a build watcher or an SBL watcher, so I doubt this is actually someone's build. It's either someone's told him about it or Chompy is just cooking, which he does love to do.
Paid off there. He managed to resustain throughout that little skirmish there and picked up 2 kills.
Yeah, maybe it could do very well too with the poke, especially with the lane poke that the Soul will be dishing out with some early lifesteal like that. It just help him resustain off of these waves if he gets poked out by Furin. Does with a 2-level lead now after that as well.
It's good to see Cloud being very active, which is something I think is very necessary on the Thanatos.
Yeah.
You're so strong early, so being present in both duo and ADC, Gavin. Well, we saw him fall in mid as well. He's been in all lanes, which is a nice showing from Cloud.
Has still even with the Nemesis, but if you translate that into what he's brought around the map, I feel like it is worth moment. Unfortunate that left side kind of got rid of what the pressure he had put in that lane, but still what he's brought around the map doesn't really reflect the even in the jungle at the moment.
Seems like a little bit of a throwback build from the Rama. He might even be going into like the Boomerang, or we could even see a Rage. I think Rage still has some good power on it.
Rage. Unless Chompy's feeling really spicy and just wants a second item Deathbringer.
Does he cook that hard?
I don't know. I dare say this will be a Rage. That's what I would be getting. I think the Demon Blade and the Boomerang got a bit of a nurse. I don't think they're really that good at the moment, especially in place of when you can just get like an XE. That's a great Maui ult.
He's not looking.
Then just Marty ults away with the good Ganesh pillars as well. Does force Simply to have the beads. Yeah, very good peel from Dice there.
Tilly could be caught out here.
Very good Maui ult though. He will be looking for those on respawn. He will let those ults fly.
Yeah, those corridors are so nice to catch people out in. I feel like they're the perfect size just to get a huge Maui ult.
Shield buff probably going to fall in the way unless... Oh, Furin. It does go to blue side. Chompy does get it with a couple basics. As much as Chompy does have the 2-level lead at the moment, I feel he still doesn't win the 1v1 fight against that Telkines at the moment. Maybe with the rage, when he gets the rage picked up, he could crit diff with some lucky crits, but Chompy are known having 80% crit and never critting. So I'm actually surprised Chompy is building crit as much as he hates it.
It's a pretty decent matchup for the Soul, right? Like he can go up into his ult to look for the kill, and Soul can just disapparate and then chuck her ult when he lands.
Yeah. It's always rough into Rama because you can't, even if you're winning the fight at any time, you kind of have to really win the fight because of that Rama ult. Like Rama's always kind of knowing that even if he's not winning the trade, he has the ult, and if he can hit shots, it doesn't really matter. But the lifesteal coming out from Telkines and this Typhon's Fang, I would dare say, would be this next item on Furin. As they're looking to maybe pick up a gold, early gold here. Or looking for a pick into the gold at least.
Maybe they could catch Shank out, positioning a little bit too deep. It looks like Tilly.
Very good ult, yeah. They do find a pick,
Nice.
and that's going to go straight into a Gold Fury pickup, I would say.
We see the Ravens here already.
I would like to see them kind of spread out a bit, because the Shank does hit a very big ult here. It could change, and could win in the fight very easily, but very good zoning at the moment. There's the big ult. Very big ult. As I was saying.
Big ult. And Chompy just walks back in with his power spike.
As well, though, and Nan falls as well. And Chompy's going to walk in and just start ripping autos.
He's got his crit item online, so this is very rough for
Furin disapparating. They might be able, they aren't able to catch up to him, but they should be able to find Jackman and Dysart here. Jackman might be able to get a trade off. Maybe even be able to get a trade off on the Arthur if he decides to turn on it. But yeah, as I said, they just grouped a little bit too hard and Shank found that ult.
It was very very good kind of like idea from the Martins there, showing that they're
out looking for something.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, that's just I don't know if that's it. It does get them off the tier 1, and if he had just turned around and not maybe gone just a little bit too far, trying to catch up to Simply, and just didn't have time and landed in a very rough spot.
Maybe he's trying to get a triple-double.
Yeah, trying to get the extra points.
I think you do want to be looking for those little people caught lacking when you're playing Thanatos, but you can find yourself going way too deep if you're just ulting into 5 on cooldown.
As Chompy did actually go for Boomerang, which I'm not too sure on the stats at the moment, but I'm pretty sure it's not amazing. I'm pretty sure this is just a Chompy cooking, which he is 4-0-1, so something's working.
He's pretty large as well, level 13.
Yeah, but if they do want to go for these kind of fights, he does have like barely any. He does a little bit of flat pen for Massa, but won't really be hitting the tanks too hard. Dysart has gone Magi second. He is a little bit more squishy than he possibly could be at the moment. But if he tries to hit Jack Martin, he will not be hitting Jack Martin for a whole lot at the moment.
Are you a fan of that Magi second in support, or do you think there's better options?
I like it. I don't know if I'm getting it this game, because he's really only, like, the Magi's really only getting procced by Maui, and Ganesh doesn't do too horrible into not getting pulled.
He can immune it with his ohm, right?
Yeah, if he gets hooked, he can ohm the Maui and get out of it. And the quick dash, if his reaction speed's enough on the ult, is good. So I don't mind. I don't like it this game, but I do like Magi's on supports in certain scenarios, as they are going on Chompy. Clout still putting the pressure out, which is very good to see.
It's a massive pickup. Chompy did a good job there to get his relics off quite nicely, but You can't really stop a Thanatos passive speeding towards you.
As Clout looking to go into Stone of Binding third, which I am not a fan of, I don't think. I can see where he's coming from. He will get a little bit of extra damage once he hits these ults off this, like the scythe after the ult. Will probably be chunking a bit, but I feel like just running another damage item.
Yeah, Arendelle could do the same thing though, like with the passive on landing.
Yeah, but yeah, let him cook. I'd like to see if he would actually go into any more. But I don't know if that will really be stopping. Unless Chompy doesn't have a lot of pen at the moment, so it would be good into diving Chompy, as we probably just saw. But once he gets that pen online, I think it'll just kind of be lowering his DPS and kind of just making him easier to kill, I think, in the end.
We see the Raven opting for the no lifesteal as well. I think that pick is very nice with the Soul Eater, seeing that you already get a heal off your 3. Makes your lane sustain so nice. But he hasn't opted for it, and it looks like he's kind of just having a stalemate in lane with the King Arthur.
Ganesh has dashed in with the... Cloud has gone up looking for Chompy again with no beads or Aegis, I believe he got from the last one. And will run him down and find Chompy again. Very good job like that. He's still putting this pressure on.
Yeah.
I like it.
He's identified that there's no relics, so I think he definitely should just be coming straight back and doing that.
Yeah, especially with the pressure they had put on to Dysart and Nam and put onto the mid laner and Shank at that green buff, they couldn't really get the Chompy. And just kind of gave it a free gank, even at his tier 2.
And now Furin's caught up.
Yeah. Just probably a little bit ahead, actually, after a couple of waves, probably, that Chompy won't be getting.
I think there was about 2 levels there, wasn't there, at one point?
Yeah.
In Chompy's favor.
As Threats probably looking... Actually, Threats are behind. I actually haven't even been paying attention to the total gold, down by at least 1,000. And I would say all off the back of the pressure this Clout's been putting on this Thanatos pick.
Yeah, I've liked it so far. You can see Thanatos not have the same impact he does early in the late game, but even if he's just getting these clutch little executes here and there, I think he'll still be doing well.
As there's the Threats do get the pyro. I think that was a hook or a potion maybe from Tilly.
Yeah.
But we did see the Magi's usage there, as Simply is going to look for Furin in these 1v1s. Not much a soul can really do about a Nemesis running at him. He will never win that 1v1.
Yeah, and if you're looking at the Jack Martin's draft, they don't have a whole lot of secure, so these opportunities for the Bubba potion are quite nice.
And Simply popping off at the moment, getting these picks. They're going to get tier 1 here as well, especially after just getting the bomb, which could also lead into a Gold Fury pickup as well after 2 kills there. Could just be a free Gold Fury. Maybe even if they want to look to pressure that tier 1 in left as well. The wave pretty much just there. They could get a lot out of this.
Yeah. As far as a double ADC comp goes, I think there is a bit of secure there from the Soul, but how do you think Martins need to be playing these engages, seeing that they don't have an outright secure mage?
I don't think doing that is the option. The Marty ult never really is not a secure ult. He's not going to steal anything with the Marty ult, and not having your Marty ult is asking for dive. It's kind of giving up a lot. But
That one's in.
The double ADC comps really want to be pulling the objectives rather than walking into one. Like, as you said, their secure is not great, so if they don't really have the control around the objective fights, it's a little bit rough for them. They kind of want to take the fights, but it could be awkward if they're not the ones that have the pressure around the objectives.
Is that on Dysart then to stop the Maui ult and the Bubba steal?
I think you almost have to give up that one. On the Pyromancer, yeah. I feel like, I don't know if it's purely on Dysart. There probably should have been other zoning around there as well. If it was purely off of, if it was the Maui hook, that's just unlucky. That's like, you could stand in front of the Maui and like stop the hook from coming, but it could just be, they just took the 50-50. unlucky to not get it.
Simply doing so much damage.
Very good damage pillars there. Getting a lot of damage on Simply, and Jack Martin's been able to follow up. Has a really good return off and Nan as well, getting a lot of damage out of that ult. And a huge solo coming out as well. Thanks, jumped in as well, found a kill on the Furin.
There's piling into this corridor.
Chompy is just firing autos now.
So much value from ults there for Jack Martins. In that little corridor, they found so much damage with Soul and with the...
Chompy is just ripping. As they get the beacon and probably gonna get Jack Martin as well.
They let him cook with the build.
Yeah.
He's got the Dommy now.
Notes. This is a build. Chompy's found it. It's crazy. I love Chompy doing these cooking builds, but it's crazy how much if we were to see Furin or
The fail not next. Sheesh.
Oh my, he is cooking. What's surprises me so much with these builds Chompy cooks up is that if any other ADC tries to do this build, it'll feel horrendous. But when Chompy picks it, it looks like it's amazing. It looks like he's mastered the build.
There's good stats in there though. You've got your lifesteal, your flat pen, your crit, your percent pen, and now you're going to be getting more crit and cooldown. It's not a bad little build.
Yeah, he's cooking up though. Failnot's never a bad item to get. It's not really a Rama item, but the stats, I'm just a fan of that item in pure just the stats on it.
Trying to catch out Simply.
Ooh, they do find him. They don't really find the follow-up damage from it. As Chompy's going up, hits the autos, hits the shots, and they are just running them down at the moment. Jack Martin falls. If they can spot Dice out there, no, Dice out just walks through. They did get 5-John. I dare say they might go tier 2 mid and then potentially a reset into left side. If they get another pick, they might be able to go for a Phoenix as well. But at the moment, I dare say they're just looking for a tier 2 mid into left side.
And seeing that Chompy is cooking with this crit build, I may have liked to see an earlier Spectral from Jack Martin because he's picked up the Pridwin there, and he's going to be wanting to zone these backline. And I don't know if the Pridwin is really the item. I know you get a little bit of value off your ult, but you'll have a way better time walking down this round if you have a Spectral.
Especially Jack Martin has been a big supporter of, or maybe smack talk a bit of Solo is not getting Spectral.
They just don't play Spectral. I just don't get it.
Whoa. But I dare say, even if he gets it next, I think it's still a little bit rough for him. Because he's lacking a lot of magical procs. He does have Manticore and Pridwin, but that's only, 50, 60 magical procs.
It's probably 15 now since all that stuff got
yeah, not really getting a lot of procs out of Manticore, so Tilly will be doing a lot of damage to him.
Yeah, and we've seen that this Raven pick has been pretty much 100% banned apart from when the house got his hands on it in the jungle, but it hasn't really seemed to live up to the expectations so far.
Yeah, hasn't really been able to find the disruption or an annoyance, I would call it, in the backline that a Raven likes to get. Kind of just being unkillable and chilling in the backline, but I dare say he's very killable at the moment. Hasn't really been able to find his lead. He is 3 levels down at the moment to the Arthur.
I'm not sure really. I think there was some good priority towards his lane from Cloud, but maybe one rotation to the beacon there with a tumble just kind of slowed down his pace a lot from the solo lane.
It did opt into a Sunder as well, which don't know if not horrible. I don't know if I like it in the solo lane as much as I do.
We do see Smelly Frenchman has it as well.
Yeah, Smelly Frenchman actually got it as well. I just find it weird on who you really use it on. I guess it's just poking out carries and getting a lot of damage off on carries, but we do see it in support as well. I guess this threat's saying that it's a very good relic at the moment. Just having wars, why not?
I can see good value out of it on the King Arthur just knocking someone up as he might fall here.
No, does
But
get out of
decides not to.
execute range actually. And Cloud's ult is just
Off
wasting
the
the
mark.
moment. As Tilly goes up into the ult, gonna look to just throw out damage here as Chompy's getting aggressed on. Good Aegis. And Cloud has blinked it as well. Great body blocking from Shank. Being able to peel away his carry. And especially so much used on Chompy there. Only using Aegis as well. Still has beads up. Will re-heal as well. They should be able to get at least a right side Phoenix from this.
That fight was very close and simply did not even get involved in that one. He was just chilling in mid the entire time.
They do get it. I don't know if you're sending Furin to deal with this Nemesis, and he does stop him, but I feel maybe even the Raven or the Thena could have been able to stop the Nemesis the same way as Furin did, and Furin would have been very valuable in that right side fight or defense.
Yeah, 100%. And we seem to see this be a somewhat of a recurring factor with the Jack Martins. They did find a lead at the start of this game, and they have in other sets as well, finding bigger leads than this, but they don't seem to be able to hold on to them. Is there anything you think that this team might be failing to realize, or any reason that you think they might be losing these leads?
I feel like that it's not like we saw it in the first game a lot. I haven't really been paying a whole lot of attention to what was happening in this game, but when they find those picks, they don't really get the stuff after the stuff, or they kind of stay around maybe looking for more picks than what they had already gotten, which kind of leads to them threats finding a good like counter engage, and then that leads into threats getting the objectives that Jack Martins probably could have gotten if they had just left.
Yeah.
As Chile just solo captures that last Stygian beacon, and the Titans are actually going to spawn in left side, which is ideal. I dare even say you could send Simply over to that left side to just at least take out the Titan, because if you can just get your Titan healthy running down that left side before Fire Giant, it will take a Phoenix by itself if it's not answered. But they just go to pick it up.
It's a bit of a risky spot now for Jack Martins, because you see every member from the threats has their starter online. They're going to be wanting this fight here, as Shank looks for a big ult.
Yeah, has forced out an ult. And Simply's going in on Cloud. He's about a quarter health as he went up, which isn't really ideal. And Tilly is dishing out damage into Nan here. Probably looking to keep going too. Just running it in with the potion as well. And they are just
That
running
might be
down.
it.
This could, another pick here. This could be game.
They just want to go straight back to
They
fire.
do go it.
Oh,
They can't end.
Oh,
The
they're
Titans are running down left.
Yeah, true.
They cannot end.
Smite, everybody.
It's literally every time. This has happened so much to us. The Titans spawn, and that's the time we decide to wipe out everybody and get Phoenixes, and we can end. But then we remember Titans are not there.
It's pretty interesting. Like, I remember when we saw this come up in the patch notes, we're like, is this really going to have that much of an effect? But it seems like it does. These Titans spawning can really change the pace of a game. We're close to ending, and there's nothing there to kill. Like, you can't really do that much.
Yeah. As they're just gonna get a free fire giant here. They simply is in left, pushing this down. I dare say they're just gonna either back and run straight to left lane with this fire giant, with this Titan. Jack Martins probably get to it and kill it before really threats will be able to get there, but still at the same time, just good pressure in that left side.
And we see Shank, oh no, sorry, Diceheart has both supports actually have the new Relic Dagger glyphs. What do you think about those, and do you prefer one or the other?
I actually think they're both really good at the moment. Obviously, Shank's gotten the Witchblade, pretty much Witchblade starter into Double Hunter is obviously just very useful. This is your attack speed slow, even into Clout as well. It's just very useful. But on the same side, the one that Diceheart has is also very good. You get 15% protections, I believe, and a bit of movement speed every time you use your relics.
Yeah.
I do like it a lot. I do like that relic a lot with Sunder, because you have Sunder up like every 30 seconds, which like every 30 seconds you get a 15% buff and movement speed. but at the same time, still gonna get just as much usage with it on any other relic. Like they have Horrific and Shell here. Still very good upgrade.
Yeah, I actually like the one that Dice has out of solo as well, and even in jungle. Like if you're blinking in for a big engage, that little bit of extra protection is actually also so nice. If you can
Yeah.
afford to fit it into your build, of course.
Yeah. Very, very good items. There's a reason they are getting picked up in pretty much every support build. And
Ooh,
actually,
early on
yeah,
the defense there.
very good jump in. Jack Martin really. They might be overstaying their welcome a bit.
See the
Nan's
double
gone
wrap
up. There's a
around.
very early shell as well coming out from Dysart. Very good ult though. Dysart's very low. And Simply's
here.
in the backline.
Oh, they're hiding in the grass.
Oh, and Simply is just cleaning up in this grass. That's game. That's
Yeah, I was
gonna
a
be.
bit worried Simply wasn't going to find a way into that because he seemed like he was awkwardly just behind the Phoenix, but they just fell into his hands there.
Yeah. Just overcommitted a bit too much on that defense. I think Jack Martin had already done a lot to stop the initial siege on the thing, and they just overcommitted a little bit too much, and it led to Brett's taking this game 2-0.
That was a nice set to watch.
Yeah, very good set to watch. Good showing from both. I actually do think, compared to Jack Martin's previous two sets, I do think that was a good set from them. All things considered.
Definitely.
They definitely were taking fights and winning fights. Had really good early game that game as well into the Threats team, but Threats just too good on the counter engages and the objective play.
Yeah, and I think as the Martins, you can't be too disappointed with your performance there. I think Dice had some good plays as a sub. Who knows? They may look for a new pickup. That seems to be what they're doing week by week. But I think they had a pretty good performance, even though they didn't find the win. They were definitely not a pushover. But yeah, it was a good performance from everybody on the threats. The Ram build was something, and yeah, he seemed to do some good work with it.
Yeah. If I were to give an MVP for the set, I'd probably give it to Simply. I think I had a really strong showing in the Camisots, and from that mid to late, just took off on that Nemesis.
Definitely. I'd probably have to agree with you there. The first game was very dominant, and in the second game there, he just seemed to have some good map play, being in the right positions at the right times, and just catching out multiple members from the Martins.
Yeah. As we go into the schedule, we will be, as I said at the start of the stream, we will be trying to do an earlier stream. I think we were aiming around 6:30. For a stream for the last game of week 3, which is the Knights versus the Corrupted Crusaders. Maybe trying to race a potential maintenance. I'm hoping that we will get a later maintenance and the stream will go smoothly.
Yeah.
But we'll try and catch that game before we go in so that we don't miss any games.
It's kind of tricky when a large majority of your casting team is actually in the match that's being played. So
Yeah,
hopefully the audience can understand, and we'll try our best to get that match to you tomorrow.
yeah, 100%. As the MVP vote is up, I want to see who is actually winning his MVP vote.
Yeah, and now looking at the games we've got coming for the rest of week 4 here, what do you think of some of these matchups?
I I think the next best set, I think we have a top of the table clash of Married Men and Wonderful Day, both not losing a set yet.
Yeah, that's between your team and my team.
Yeah, we will
Should
be
be
going against each
interesting.
other. I would also not mind Crusaders versus BGF. We still haven't seen the new roster on the Crusaders, which we will see tomorrow. But I reckon they have a good chance going into the BGF team, really trying to cement themselves as a middle of the pack team. And La Bomba and Crimson Knights, two members of La Bomba did get their unban
I believe it was
week,
this week. Yeah.
but they did unfortunately have to FF their set. So we haven't really seen them at their full strength yet, which against the Crimson Knights could also be a good game.
Yeah, we've
With a
seen a
full strength
little bit
roster.
of questionable form out of the Knights. hopefully, I think they're trying to really cement their team vision, but it means that there's good opportunities for these. Uh, I wouldn't say weaker teams, but teams who haven't had as much success to really challenge them and take games off teams like Knights, who I can probably say both of us would think would be having a lot of a better performance than they are already.
Yeah, 100%. And on that note, I think that'll all about wrap us up for this stream. Catch us tomorrow.
No MVP.
at-
Who won?
Who did win? Tilly, it looks like. Which
Oh.
also, yeah, very good showing on the Baba Yaga. What was the first game pick? Poseidon. Very good showing on Poseidon too, actually. And
We set it up with points, so people can put points on who they think the MVP is. So thank you, Cobra, for that 43K
yes,
points to Tilly.
that will end us for this stream. Catch us tomorrow at 6:30, I believe we were aiming for.
Yeah, awesome.
But
Thanks for
thank you.
joining.